Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL news cycle lately, you know that the landscape of the league is constantly shifting. And right now, there's a very intriguing situation unfolding that could have massive implications for the Washington Commanders. We're talking about a potential blockbuster trade that has everyone buzzing in the NFL community. It involves none other than the Green Bay Packers, a team with a storied history, and their standout cornerback, Jaire Alexander. That's right, this isn't just speculation. The negotiations are in motion, and it's something we need to keep our eyes on closely because it could reshape the defense of the Commanders and alter the balance of power in the NFC East. So what's the scoop? Well, rumors and reports suggest that the Commanders are seriously considering making a move for Jaire Alexander, one of the premier cornerbacks in the league today. Alexander has built quite a reputation over the years, not just as a lockdown defender, but as a game changer in the secondary. His ability to shadow top receivers, make plays on the ball, and deliver those clutch moments when the team needs it most makes him an incredibly valuable asset. And let's be honest, in today's NFL, having a shutdown corner can be the difference between a good defense and a truly elite one. The Commanders, who have been looking to bolster their defensive unit, see in Alexander a perfect piece to help elevate their secondary to the next level. Now, it's important to understand the context here. The Packers, a team that's been in a bit of a transition lately, are facing some tough decisions regarding their roster and salary cap flexibility. Jaire Alexander, while still young and in his prime, is entering a phase where contract negotiations might become complicated. The Packers have a few players they'd like to keep, and with the NFL's salary cap constraints, sometimes tough choices have to be made. That's where a trade might come into play. And interestingly, the talks are reportedly ongoing, with both sides exploring the possibilities after June 1st. Why June 1st? Because that's when the NFL's salary cap accounting can be more flexible, allowing teams to make moves without heavy cap penalties. So the window for negotiations opens wider after that date, and both teams seem to be maneuvering to find a deal that works for everyone involved. But let's dig a little deeper into what Jaire Alexander brings to the table. This guy has been a cornerstone of the Packers' defense since he was drafted. He's a dynamic player, known for his quickness, agility, and football IQ. His coverage skills are top-notch, often shadowing the opponent's best receiver and shutting them down. Last season, he recorded multiple interceptions and pass breakups, demonstrating his knack for making game-changing plays. His presence on the field is a huge boost for any secondary, and for the Commanders, acquiring someone like Alexander could be a game changer. It's not just about having a good corner, it's about having a player who can consistently lock down the opponent's top target, freeing up the rest of the defense to attack the quarterback or focus on stopping the run. Now, let's talk about the Washington Commanders and their current defensive situation. The team has been on the rise, especially in the secondary. They've added some promising young players in recent drafts, but what they really need is that proven elite talent who can lead the unit and elevate everyone around him. Jaire Alexander fits that bill perfectly. His addition would not only improve the pass defense, but also bring a leadership presence to the entire defense. With the NFC East being as competitive as it is, think about the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants all pushing hard. The Commanders can't afford to fall behind in the secondary. Adding Alexander could give them that extra edge they need to compete at the highest level, especially in those crucial late-game situations. Of course, nothing is finalized yet. The negotiations are still ongoing, and there are many factors at play. Both teams are evaluating what they can get in return. For the Packers, it might mean draft picks or perhaps a player or two that fit their future plans. For the Commanders, it's about weighing the immediate impact of adding a top-tier cornerback against the cost of trade assets. And considering the NFL's salary cap rules, both teams need to be strategic about how they structure the deal, especially with the June 1st deadline looming. It's a complex puzzle, but one that could be worth it if it lands the Commanders the kind of defensive star they've been seeking. Now just imagine the impact on the field. With Jaire Alexander in the fold, the Commanders' secondary instantly becomes one of the toughest in the league. Opposing quarterbacks would think twice before throwing into that side of the field. His ability to cover man-to-man or contribute in zone schemes adds a versatile dimension to the defense. And let's not forget, having a player of his caliber often raises the entire unit's confidence, inspiring the other defensive backs and linebackers to perform better. It's not just about individual talent, it's about how that talent elevates the team as a whole. But beyond the immediate on-field impact, this potential move also signals a shift in the Commanders' approach. It shows they're serious about contending now, not just rebuilding. They're willing to make bold moves to accelerate their competitiveness. And given the current state of the NFC East, that's exactly what they need. The Eagles, with their dynamic roster and Super Bowl aspirations, are setting the bar high. The Cowboys, always tough and well-coached, demand respect. The Giants on the rise are not to be underestimated. To stay in this race, Washington has to make strategic moves, and acquiring a player like Jaire Alexander would be a statement of intent. Now, let's also consider the fans' perspective. The Washington faithful are eager for change, eager for that spark that can propel their team to new heights. The addition of a player of Alexander's caliber would be a huge morale boost. It would energize the fan base, ignite conversations on social media, and give everyone hope that this team is serious about competing for championships. The front office knows this too. They're always looking at ways to improve, and this potential trade could be just the beginning of a series of moves aimed at solidifying the team's position as a postseason contender. And as we look ahead, it's important to remember that the NFL offseason is full of surprises. Sometimes the biggest moves happen late in the process, and this one could go either way. The negotiations are still in progress and nothing is official yet. But the fact that both teams are exploring the possibility signals their mutual interest. If they manage to strike a deal, it could set a precedent for future trades and show other teams that the Commanders are serious about competing at the highest level. Now, for the fans of the Green Bay Packers, this situation might be bittersweet. Jaire Alexander has been a key part of their defense, and losing him would be a blow. But if the trade happens, it could also mean they're looking to rebuild or retool their roster for the future. Sometimes, moving a star player can open up salary cap space or draft opportunities that align with a new direction. The Packers have a rich history of making smart moves, so whatever happens, they will be strategic in their approach. In summary, this potential trade involving Jaire Alexander is a huge story, not just for the Washington Commanders, but for the entire NFL. It's a move that could reshape the NFC East and send ripples through the league. For the Commanders, it's about making a statement, showing they're in it to win it, that they're ready to take the next step toward becoming a Super Bowl contender. For the Packers, it's about balancing their roster and planning for the future. And for us fans, it's about the excitement, the uncertainty, and the anticipation of what could come next. We're watching closely because this is exactly the kind of move that can define a season and maybe even a franchise's future. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, there are still many questions that fans are eager to see answered. Will the trade actually materialize? What will the terms be? Will the Commanders have to give up multiple draft picks, or could they swing a deal that includes a promising young player? How will Jaire Alexander adapt to a new environment and a new team? These are all questions that will be answered in the coming weeks, and the NFL offseason will be buzzing with updates. The Commanders, under the leadership of their coaching staff and front office, are known for their strategic approach. They've been building through the draft, developing young talent, and making calculated moves to position themselves as contenders. Adding a player like Jaire Alexander would be a statement move, one that signals their intentions to compete at the highest level right now. It's a gamble, sure, but in the NFL, sometimes you have to take calculated risks to reach the top. And let's not forget, the NFC East is a division where every game is a battle. The Eagles are coming off a Super Bowl appearance, with a roster loaded with talent and confidence. The Cowboys are always tough, with a strong defense and a balanced offense. The Giants, with their recent draft picks and offseason additions, are inching closer to respectability. In this environment, having a lockdown corner like Alexander could be the difference maker in critical moments, especially in the postseason. From a historical perspective, the Commanders have had periods of success, but consistency has eluded them in recent years. Building a dominant defense has been a key goal, and acquiring top-tier players in the secondary is a proven strategy. Think about the legendary defenses that have led teams to Super Bowls. Having a shutdown corner can be a cornerstone for that kind of success. If Washington manages to land Alexander, it would be a clear signal that they're serious about chasing championships. Now, for the Packers, moving Jaire Alexander might be a difficult decision. He's still young, only in his mid-20s, and has plenty of prime football years ahead of him. But they also have other young players emerging and a draft strategy that could reshape their roster. Sometimes, trading a player of Alexander's caliber can open up cap space or draft capital to rebuild and retool for the future. It's a tough call, but one that's not uncommon in the NFL, especially when teams are looking to reset or pivot towards a new chapter. As fans, we love these storylines. The drama, the negotiations, the potential blockbuster trades, they add so much excitement to the offseason. And for the Commanders, this move could be the spark they need to push them into serious playoff contention. Imagine a secondary anchored by a player like Alexander combined with the rising talent they already have. That's a recipe for a defense that can take the team deep into the postseason. Of course, we need to keep our expectations realistic. Nothing is set in stone yet. The negotiations could still fall apart, or perhaps the Packers might decide to hold on to Alexander if the deal doesn't meet their expectations. But the fact that both sides are actively exploring options is a strong indication that something could be brewing. And when it comes to NFL trades, the best deals often happen suddenly, catching everyone off guard, so stay tuned because we could be hearing official news any day now. Now, let's talk a bit about what this means for the upcoming season. If the trade goes through, the Commanders will likely enter the season with a revamped secondary, a unit that can match up better against the high-powered offenses in their division and across the league. It also sends a message to their rivals. They're not just content to compete, they want to dominate. And that kind of confidence can be contagious, especially when it's backed up by real talent. For the fans, this is what we live for: speculation, anticipation, and the hope that our team will make that bold move to reach the next level. The NFL offseason is a roller coaster, and right now it's climbing to a new peak with this potential blockbuster trade. Keep your eyes peeled, stay engaged, and let's see how this story unfolds, because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to bring that Lombardi trophy back to Washington, to make the fans proud, and to finally see the team reach that elusive Super Bowl stage once again. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the team should go all in for Jaire Alexander? Would you be willing to part with draft picks or young players to land a guy of his caliber? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. Thanks for being part of this journey. Your passion keeps the fire burning, and together we're building something special.